Pokemon's a rather old game, came out in 1996 originally, which means it's based off some very old hardware, which means that you can do some very wacky things with it. And you know, there's people around the world, very talented, smart people, not like myself, definitely not like myself, that have been able to do insane things, like, for example, put Pokemon inside of Minecraft, so you can just play the game in Minecraft, which is insane to me. But what if you went one step further? What if you could, for example, play Doom using only Spinda patterns? Doom, one of the first-person shooters of all time. I absolutely love the new Doom games. Never played the old ones. Doom guy seems like a nice fella. Let's see how this is possible.
This is a pregnancy test, and
okay, right, it's not really where I thought this video would be starting. But congratulations to ADEF for being pregnant. That's fantastic news. Very happy for you and the family, if there is one, not really sure.
I know what you're thinking. No, I'm not pregnant.
Oh, sorry. Okay, never mind. Not congratulations. That I take it back. Am I supposed to? Are you supposed to do that? Can you take it back? Are you supposed to? Is that rude?
Yet.
Oh, unless.
In September 2020, I saw this post on Twitter.
Okay, let's see. Yesterday had a lot of retweets and Reddit posts about playing Doom on a pregnancy test. Oh no.
Of a programmer playing the 1993 classic video game Doom on a pregnancy test.
Okay, I mean, it's clearly, he's not playing very well. He's like walking into walls and all that. At least I think they're walls. It's a little hard to tell when all the pixels are either black or white.
A little digging into the thread does show that this was a new screen and a new microcontroller not native to the test itself, but it's still wonderfully dumb. There's a long history of people playing Doom on hacked devices not meant to play it. For instance, here's somebody playing Doom on an ATM.
What? Okay, that's pretty sick. Like, if you beat the game, do you get money? How much money should you get? Should you get like 100 quids a level, or how does this work? If you win, if you beat the entire game and you 100% it, do you just get all the money that's in the ATM? I mean, I feel like that'd be a good reward.
Here's somebody playing Doom on a calculator powered by potatoes.
Oh, what? Powered by potatoes? That's incredible. How many potatoes does it take to power a calculator? And how much power can you get out of these potatoes before they run out? Because clearly they would run out. I mean, calories are energy, right? Carbohydrates is energy. So eventually it will run out. Does the potato get sapped? Does it end up hollow? Does all the inner potato and fluffiness just go into the ether, into the air, or is it sucked into the calculator? How does this work?
Here's Doom running on an ultrasound machine, which continues to beg the question why the Venn diagram of Doom hacking enthusiasts and pregnancy detection technology continues to have such a large overlap.
I guess because, I mean, in Doom you murder a lot, but pregnancy you bring life together, so it's the circle of life.
But all this got me thinking, what mark could I leave on this ever-growing list of playable versions of Doom? Well, recently I came across another tweet, this one, in which a user was able to create an animation using only Spinda patterns.
Oh, that's so cute! Look, it's a
and
little
like any
bouncy ball!
sane person, that led me to the question, what if you could play Doom in Pokemon? Oh, sorry, I misspoke. I meant, what if you could play Doom on a Pokemon?
What? No, wait, no. Wait, we're gonna try and play Doom on the Spinda? I thought it was gonna be something like, you use the code from the Spinda to create the Doom game via programming or something like that. We're just gonna play it on the Spinda?
Surely deciding to make this video won't send me down an unfathomably deep rabbit hole, which will require me to learn more about Doom, Spinda, and computer science than anyone should ever have to know. Right?
Surely.
Well, given that I'm filming this after having already done all of it, I can tell you pretty much, spoiler alert,
you can do
this
it?
video essentially broke me.
Okay, but you can do it though. If you can, this is insane. If you can do it, that's just absolutely ridiculous. I would imagine that you can. Oh, and I love nightmares. Now, I did get permission to react to this video, so I want to say a big thank you to... How do you say the name? Is it ADEF or is it ADEF or is it ADEF? I want to say a big thank you for allowing me to react to the video. Let me hit you with a big subscribe right there. Thank you very much.
Okay, so my first hurdle in getting Doom to run on Spinda was...
And also, you definitely should subscribe if you haven't already. Because believe me, there is so much high-level, high-quality content on this channel, like the maths behind the unluckiest moments in Pokemon, mathematically proven which Pokemon should learn Fly, mathematically proven which Pokemon should learn Surf. Like, it's a lot of really good, entertaining stuff. It's very well edited. You should definitely give it a watch.
Understanding how Spinda patterns worked in the first place. To represent even one frame of Doom, I'm going to need an incredibly specific Spinda pattern, right? But
I mean, how is this? I just don't know how it's going to translate. Like, where are you going to get the gun from? Do you need the crosshair? Do you need the background, where the enemy's going to come from?
How does the Game Boy Advance even determine which patterns are possible? Like many other people, I first encountered Spinda while playing Pokemon Sapphire version and traversing Route 113. This is my actual childhood copy of Pokemon Sapphire.
Oh man, I wish I still had my childhood copy of Pokemon Ruby. I think I had Sapphire too, but I think I may have accidentally stolen that from a friend and not realized. And then when he lost his Sapphire and I mysteriously gained one, I was just like, oh wow, that's weird. Or maybe I knew. I mean, children aren't generally evil, so maybe I knew. Maybe I'm suppressing the fact that I knew, to protect myself from the knowledge that I was a bad person. Back in the day, I did steal a He-Man sword from one of my next door neighbor friends. He also noticed that I had gained a He-Man sword while his was missing. And I thought, ooh, weird. I knew that I'd stolen that one though. It was a cool sword. You can't really blame me for that.
And I was playing it exactly 10 years after Doom came out. Coincidence?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, almost certainly. As you may already know, every single time you encounter Spinda, the game randomly generates a pattern of 4 dots to cover its face in some configuration.
But what's your favorite? Mine's bald.
Like any functioning adult, I have a favorite Spinda pattern. Don't you? Of course you do. You're a normal person, like me, that has a normal brain. Okay,
Bald.
which one's yours? You
Bald.
don't? Okay, well, this one's mine.
Oh, wow, that's a cool one. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, he's kind of like bald. I would assume any bald Spinda is a Spinda that has no color above the eyes or below the ears. If it's there, then it's bald.
This is my favorite.
He's gay, but he has a special connection to classical music. There's many things that are interesting about him.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell this guy has a special connection to classical music. This guy's just rocking out with Beethoven on the night's
Isn't it
end.
beautiful? I really like how the top left dot is just in like this really... Wait, hang on. What is that? What is
That's
that
the
number?
PID.
What's that number in the bottom? No. I said I wasn't going to fall down a rabbit hole. No. We're not finding out. Don't transition to a voiceover segment.
Wait. What happens if you increment it by 1, though? What would it look like?
No VO! No! Every Pokemon has a randomly generated personality value, or PID for short. Personality values are used to store tons of information about a given Pokemon. If they can have more than one ability, the PID determines which one they will have. It also determines whether a Pokemon is shiny or not, the Pokemon's gender, and a few other things. For Spinda specifically, the personality...
I like how this is all like very general characteristics, gender, ability, nature, shininess, and then there's just Spinda spots, unknown letters, Wurmple's evolution, and then size and performance changes. Performance changes? What's all that about?
value also determines the locations of each of Spinda's 4 dots. But how does it do this? Well, the personality value is stored in a 32-bit unsigned integer.
Okay, my question is, can the spots appear to overlay each other entirely? Like, could it, for example, could you have a Spinda that didn't really seem to have any spots because all the spots are overlaid on the same thing? I would imagine that you can. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to.
Good Lord, the technical jargon never ends. Okay, let's break it down. First, the word unsigned here just means that we aren't dedicating any part of the number to store whether it's positive or negative. The number is only going to be positive. Next, bits. A bit refers to a digit in base 2 or binary. Let's take a look at that number again.
God, it's taking me back to computer science. I used to do this stuff back in university, and I was like, oh, this is terrible. I want to drop out. So I almost dropped out, but I stayed on for 1 more year, got an applied computing degree, and I'm never going to use it again because I've realized that programming is a melty brain thing that don't want to ever do. No, thank you.
This is hexadecimal, also known as base 16. Here on Earth, we largely count in base 10, otherwise known as decimal. But base 10 isn't the only counting system. Many cultures throughout history used other counting systems, but we likely settled on base 10 for a myriad of reasons, but most probably because it made counting on these things pretty convenient. One thing to note about hex is that since we don't have any unique numerals in our modern writing system above 9, any base higher than 10 starts to use letters of the alphabet for the higher numbers.
Oh no, that's just far too complicated. We can't implement letters into our mathematics. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Come on now, be serious.
For instance, an A is 10, a B is 11, on up to F for 15. A place you may have come into contact with hex in your day-to-day life is computer color palettes. If you've ever used Photoshop or MS Paint or really any color swatch in a program, you've probably seen the box for hex and...
Yeah, because people always ask me, what's your favorite color? And I say, oh, it's 20A526. Okay, I didn't realize that was an actual color, but I mean, that's not a bad color. I will say that purple is definitely my favorite color. You know, if I was gonna really choose a favorite color, it would be definitely around purple. Oh yeah, now that is a color hex. 954C7. Oh, now don't show me that. I can't look at this anymore. It's so good.
Some weird number that has an F or other letters in it. That's hexadecimal. The algorithm that determines a Spinda pattern looks at the hexadecimal number representing Spinda's PID and uses 2 digits at a time to represent the X and Y values respectively for a spot in each quadrant.
You can see each circle or each dot will have a square around it. So in theory, it could entirely disappear. You could have one go into the top left and entirely disappear. You could have the bottom left one just go into the bottom left entirely disappear. Though you will have at least one dot or at least one marking because the bottom right is almost entirely over the face, which means it's most likely going to be somewhere. The funny thing is you could have like the top right dot be lower than the bottom right dot just because of the placement of the squares and the placement of where the different dots could possibly end up. It's very interesting. That's cool.
Given this, that means that the number of possible unique Spinda patterns is equal to the maximum value that you can store in this 8-digit hexadecimal integer. That number comes out to be 4,294,967,295.
Yeah, try finding all those babies.
That's how many bits of memory can be stored in a 32-bit address, and conveniently, also the number of possible Spinda patterns. But even if I wanted to represent a really rudimentary game like Pong, I would still need a ton of unique Spinda patterns to represent every frame of every possible game state. I can't possibly go through the game and catch all those Spinda by hand or even pick out the Spinda patterns by hand. It's just unrealistic. So that meant my next goal after finding out how Spinda worked was to create sort of a Spinda database of every single Spinda pattern and then create a Python program that would pull sort of a Spinda of best fit, if you will, when I gave it an image. Then I could just do that.
I still don't know how this is going to result in playing Doom. I mean, it's a lot of dots, isn't it? It's a lot of dots. It's going to put the dots on the Spinda for sure, but how's it going to look like Doom?
Spinda of best fit comparison for every single frame of a clip of me playing Doom, and bada bing, bada boom, we've got Doom running on a Spinda, baby. And better yet, if I could make the program tight enough to run the comparison in real time, we could play Doom in real time on a graphical user interface made out of Spinda.
That does sound absolutely fantastic. That sounds incredible. I hope this is possible. I mean, there's a lot of video time left, so I'm assuming that it is possible, but it's going to be very, very difficult.
Wow, it feels like I've solved the whole thing. Oh, no, there is so much time left on the red.
Yeah, there's a lot. You can just look.
Scrub bar on the YouTube player.
Yeah,
that's
a lot.
Weird. I feel like this should be over now. We did it.
Well, no, it didn't do it because you had to do it now. I mean, it's one thing to come up with an idea. It's one thing to come up with a solution to your problem. It's another thing entirely to implement it.
The first problem I encountered is that I'm stupid.
Yeah, no, I encounter that problem all the time. I mean, I wake up and realize that I'm stupid, and then it just kind of gets in the way of like most things that I do throughout the day. I'll like spill some water and I'm like, it's because I'm stupid. That's right. And then I'll stub my toe and I'm like, oh, well, there goes the stupid again.
At the very least, I just am not talented enough at programming to solve this problem in the amount of time one would call reasonable for a video deadline. The next issue is that as I worked through the problem, I realized 2 new massive problems.
See, what you should do is you should just write some code that says, if Spinda looks like Doom, print Spinda. If Spinda don't look like Doom, move on to next Spinda. There's your program. I mean, this is easy. Programming is pretty easy. All the programming heads out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly this is a foolproof plan.
Firstly, the amount of computing power and the elegance of the algorithm that would be required to generate the best Spinda in real time while playing a game is just not anything I could possibly do.
Yeah, because you'd have to go through 4 billion possible Spindas to find the single best Spinda for one frame of a video game, which is just, I mean, that's ridiculous. Could you go through 4 billion pictures and find the best one in real time for each frame? Nah.
I think it might be possible,
well, maybe
but
you could.
Not by me. The second problem is that I pretty quickly realized what was probably evident to you almost right away. How do you represent a game as visually complex as Doom using only 4 dots of slightly different size on a canvas only the size of Spinda's face?
That's what I'm saying. That's the problem that I've been trying to get to. It's not gonna look like Doom specifically, but I suppose the pregnancy test was specific. I guess that was technically running Doom, and well, I saw this black and white pixels. I mean, that wasn't really doing much.
Not only that, but because the dots are constrained to 4 quadrants with finite boundaries, that means that some images just aren't possible to recreate in a way that feels satisfying. But as I was trying to reason through those problems, I had a bit of a eureka moment, and I think I came up with a solution to the second problem. If one Spinda isn't sufficient, how about basically a matrix of Spinda, in which each individual Spinda, instead of having to recreate the whole image, only has to recreate a small part of the image?
Oh my god. You know what? I'm about to say the millennial thing. It's so crazy, it just might work.
Obviously, this is infinitely scalable, and you could just use a really large image and enough Spinda that each Spinda is basically just functioning like a pixel.
Yeah, but you have to process that in real time. I mean, that's going to be impossible, isn't it?
That's not really any fun. So I decided that my goal for the project would be able to make up the image using Spinda that are large enough to be visible for each subsection of the image. That way, it actually feels like you're looking at Spinda. With that in mind, I got to work. My first idea was to go into Photoshop and just sort of make a mock-up of what I was thinking about. So
Okay.
I took a screenshot of Doom, and then
Sure.
I transitioned it to...
Oh, I mean, you have to have the armor. You have to have the armor. You have to have the arms. You have to have health. You have to have... Oh, you're going to have like the recoil from the gun, the animations.
black and white, and then I filtered out all of the white in the image to reveal a grid of just one Spinda pattern I had made behind it. And before I show this to you, I should make a content warning that it is complete nightmare fuel.
Okay.
So watch at your own risk.
I'm ready for it. Let's go.
Here it is.
Show it to me.
So after making...
Right. What are we looking at? Goodness me. Goodness gracious me. What is happening here? What is going on?
this monstrosity, I decided that if I just hopped in Python and gave it an earnest effort, hopefully it wouldn't look like that. I started researching algorithms to make mosaics in Python, but with an image database for Spinda being over 4 billion images, and with my programming abilities fast approaching their present limit, I needed a lifeline. I decided to revisit the Spinda animation tweet to see if...
I wonder if there is a gallery out there with every single variation of Spinda. I know there are programs that you can use to create every single variation, but can you download a zip file that just has every Spinda in it? And if you can't, why not? Why can't you? I know what you can do. You can use code Patterrz at GamerSubs to get delicious beverages. Look at this one, emotional damage. Oh my goodness, fantastic. You can use code Patterrz at GamerSubs to get 10% off anything that you want. That includes merchandise, and they have a absolutely fantastic supply of merchandise as well. That includes the sus bars, that includes the noodles, that includes their gamer tea. You can get some amazing flavors, caffeine and caffeine free. There's no reason not to.
the original poster had a GitHub link or anything in the reply
Links in the description, GamerSubs, code Patterrz.
that might clue me into the method. That's when I saw it. The light I had been looking for in this very dark, Spinda-themed tunnel. A reply to the original tweet showing a series of Spinda being used to animate Bad Apple, which I'm
Whoa.
told is a meme about anime. I don't know, man. I've been in a
what
Spinda
is-
rabbit hole for so long, I don't really know about anything anymore.
Oh my god.
But this was a long clip and at a decently high frame rate too. This had
Wow.
to have been generated using a program, as no sane person would ever manually pick this many Spinda patterns. I tweeted
Oh, it wouldn't take that long, just a few
this
years.
videos person and waited. About 15 minutes later, they DM'd me. Eureka, oh my god, it's happening. It turns out this legend's name is Jakob. I asked Jakob if he had a Git repository for his Spinda
I'm really glad I said it because I was about to say Jacob, and I didn't. Well, I mean, I've said it now, but I was about to say like shout out to Jacob, but no, it's Jakob. Thank you, Jakob. This is fantastic.
code, and he said he'd happily upload it. Jakob and I wound up talking for quite some time about how I could go about this project using Jakob's code as a jumping off point. But ultimately, Jakob's code proved to be more than sufficient for what we wanted to do. Jakob and I
Really?
agreed that one Spinda's face was probably not going to be large enough, and I told him about my mosaic idea. I had planned to use his code to start making the mosaic myself, but within one day, I received a DM from him with the following image. Jakob
Oh.
had decided to just code
Oh.
it on his own in his free time because he
Oh wow, yeah, the yin and yang. Wow. Oh my god. Whoa, look at that. That's actually sick.
thought the idea was interesting. Literally saving me so much time, I cannot thank him enough. He sent me the code and we hopped on a call to make sure everything was functioning, and I got to work. I recorded
fantastic.
gameplay of Doom at a very low resolution to make sure that I didn't have to use too many Spinda to represent the image, and I recorded it at a low frame rate so that we wouldn't have to process so many images. It was finally time to test out this brand new program that Jakob had written.
All right, here we go. I'm excited to see how this
First,
goes.
to understand how the mosaic code works, we need to understand how the simpler version of this program works, the version used for the Bad Apple animation. Jakob's code is a sort of quick and dirty but very effective solution to the problem of selecting the best Spinda for any individual frame. The code uses a genetic algorithm, which is based on real-life natural selection. Basically, imagine some very selective daycare breeders who are given 2 Spinda and a target image. They breed the Spinda together and a litter of Spinda are made. We'll call this Generation 0.
And they're then gonna breed the 2 Spinda that closest match the targets, I would assume. But also, it's a bit of incest, which is a bit weird.
In Generation 0, they look at every Spinda and assign them a score based on how close they are to the target image. This is known as a fitness score. The Spinda with poor scores...
Fitness Spinda pattern on your Spinda. Wait! Sorry. That was... Sorry about that.
Are sent to go have lovely little lives in the daycare fields. The Spinda with good scores, however, are put to work, baby. They gotta make that next generation of Spinda.
Yeah, you are definitely... What is this, the Targaryens? You're breeding the brother and sister together?
Right now. This process is repeated for a specified amount of generations or until a requisite fitness score is reached.
That's pretty sick. That's pretty good.
For example, let's say I want to recreate this one specific frame of Bad Apple. The algorithm sees white pixels as parts of the image to recreate with the dots, and black pixels as parts of the image for which to use blank parts of Spinda's face. For the following simulation, I did 100 Spinda per generation and 10 generations. It's obviously not great, but with only 4 red dots to work with, it's really not bad.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's pretty accurate. Actually, yeah, it's gotten it almost exactly, and that's a population size of 100 with 10 generations. So you could expand this and it would probably get even more accurate in the future.
The general shape of the image is definitely there if you kind of squint a little bit. Increasing the number of members in any given generation or increasing the number of generations could help with the simulation a bit, but there's...
Watch out, there's a volcano behind you! You're gonna fall in the lava!
2 problems with that. First of all, there's only so much we can do when trying to recreate a complex image with only 4 red dots. Getting close to the target image is a little subjective, given that the fitness score will never really be that good. The second and perhaps larger problem is that increasing the number of generations will linearly increase the amount of time it takes to compute, but if you increase the number of members in a generation, you are increasing drastically the number of comparisons that have to be made each time a generation is processed. But all that aside, using Jakob's algorithm, we can simulate Doom on a Spinda's face.
I can't wait to see how this works.
The long-awaited moment. Before we do any of the mosaic stuff, we've accomplished the thing I set out to do at the beginning of this project. Play Doom on one single Spinda's face. Also,
Yes.
Before I play you the clip, I do want to mention something hilarious, which is that when I went back to that Twitter thread of Spinda animations, it turns out I'm not the only person who, after seeing this animation, had the first thought of, oh, you could probably play Doom on that. So shout out.
Oh my god, that's crazy. That's so many people that had the same idea. Also, wow, that was in December as
to
well.
all the other people who also tweeted that, but I'm the only one actually doing it. So
who knows? It would be crazy if 2 people had the exact same idea,
internet
though.
points to me. Bonus 10 internet points for ADEF. I win. Me.
Adef, that's how you say his name.
Even though I didn't really program much of the actual stuff that's happening. Anyway, onto the clip. Here's that same low resolution, low frame rate Doom gameplay I've been showing you throughout the entire video. Now let's see what it would look like if a vast majority of the screen is represented by one Spinda's face. In the bottom right, you'll see every single Spinda's personality value represented in hex.
Oh.
Okay, so obviously it's not great, but look, it is an accomplishment of the original goal. Just for kicks and giggles, let's see what it would look like if instead of taking up a vast majority of the image, Spinda were only used just to represent the area around the player's gun.
Okay.
Okay, it's still not better. You know what? It's fine.
Well, it's try. You know what? I think it's tried its best, and that's what matters.
It's fine. I'm fine. Oh, I'm getting a text, and they're asking if I'm fine. I'm totally fine. I'm 100% fine. Guys, I'm fine.
It's tough.
You can probably see by now why I knew that we'd need the mosaic thing before even simulating.
This is gonna look so good with all the mosaics, though. All the Spinda together.
Enough resolution on Spinda's face, unfortunately. But
I can't believe Spinda Face didn't have enough resolution. It's actually fucked up that Game Freak didn't think about this. Why didn't they think that someone's gonna play Doom on it in the future? Ridiculous.
in the same way that you can't play Doom with an image of 4 pixels, it's okay because all you have to do is just layer many of those 4 pixel images next to each other and voila, it's readable. The process is the same as before, except the algorithm now breaks up a test image into many sub-images.
Oh, is every sub-image gonna have their own Spinda?
And finds the best Spinda for each sub-image.
Yes,
for example,
there it is. Oh, there. See, that looks good. That looks way better.
For this Doom logo, which is 839 by 764 pixels, it
Oh,
comes
that's
out to
nice.
be about 36 Spinda by 36 Spinda.
God, I love how many bold Spinda there are too.
The same genetic algorithm to find the best Spinda for one entire image is run for every single Spinda in this list, which means the bigger the image and the bigger the population size in any given generation, the longer the runtime. These simulations can take a while. This Doom title screen image alone took my computer over an hour, but
Ooh, okay, yes, that will... Ooh, that's going to be difficult for... oh, that's going to be really difficult unless you lower the resolution to as low as it could possibly go.
if you're willing to dedicate the computational power and time, amazing things can be achieved.
Sure, if one frame, we'll say one frame takes an hour, you get 24 frames in a day, which means that you'd get about 1 second per day. Ooh. If you do it for an entire month, you get about 30 seconds. All you really need is 10 seconds, which means all you really need is 10 days for 10 seconds, surely?
I present to you now Jakob and I's magnum opus.
Oh
What
my
you're
God, here
about
we
to
go.
see is the same Doom footage as before, but this time processed through the mosaic version of the spindification genetic algorithm. Please enjoy.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. Oh, wait, that's actually... Wait, that's insane. It kind of does look like the gameplay.
Isn't it
That's
awesome?
what- oh my
now,
God, you can
this
see the
code
gun!
can likely be improved. I mean, for God's sake, you've probably noticed that this clip is only like 10 seconds long. That's because of the sheer amount of time it takes to simulate these frames.
Yeah, I would imagine it takes like, what, like 10 days to simulate all that?
Jakob and I split up the rendering
That's ridiculous. You could proper see
task
the
with
gun.
him taking the even frames and me taking the odd frames. And even then, we still spent dozens of hours of computation time on this 10-second clip at 20 frames per second.
That's ridiculous, but it's so
We
sick,
basically
though.
just let our computers run on this program whenever we were out of our respective apartments or just didn't have any computer work to do at the time, and it still took so long. Meanwhile, racking up both of our power bills for the month of April.
Oh, but it's so worth it.
LOL, join the Patreon, link in the description.
Wait, oh no, this probably took up so much
And there
power.
are almost certainly other solutions out there to this problem, many of which would probably be faster to simulate. So, dear viewer, I leave the optimization or complete redesign and overhaul of this solution to you as basically voluntary
really sick.
homework. If you watched this video and thought, I bet I could write a better version of that code,
I
then
absolutely could
please,
not.
I encourage you to try.
But it
This
would be
is a
sick to see
really
someone try.
engaging problem and causes you to come up with some very unique solutions. I'll link Jakob's GitHub, including the Spindify page, in the description below, so take a peek at the code. But I'm also going to link Jakob's website. Jakob is an actual
Oh, yeah, they did a
literal legend
fantastic
for
job.
helping me so much with this project, and I cannot thank him enough. I also think Jakob would probably want me to emphasize to you that this is not code that he has taken a lot of time to optimize or make a ton of deeper and deeper solutions to, because after all, neither Jakob nor I have the time in our day-to-day lives to dedicate to this one problem, but the code exists, is functional, and you should definitely try it. As the code
Yeah,
is
give it a
written right
go.
now, it worked amazing for this project, and again, thank you, Jakob, so much.
Yeah, thank you, Jakob. That was amazing. Well, that was absolutely fantastic. If you do want to give it a go, I'll leave all of this linked in the description as well, so you can give it a try. But I just think it's absolutely sick. The final clip looks really good. For being played on Spinders. All right, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely fantastic. So thank you again, ADEF, for allowing me to react to this video. I think it's super interesting, very, very cool. Much more talented than I am. If you want to see more of them, links in the description. Want to see more of my dumb face, you can always subscribe here as well.